No one chooses who they fall in love with. If they did, I never would have chosen him. I met Daniel in a coffee shop too small to hold big secrets. I was sitting by the window pretending to work when he walked in. There was no dramatic music, no slow motion, just that strange silence that happens when something out of place takes up the right space. He ordered black coffee, no sugar. I noticed because I do the same. Daniel sat 2 tables ahead, his back to me. Still, I had the uncomfortable feeling that he knew I was there, as if his presence didn't depend on sight, as if it were an invisible weight in the air. "Do you always write while looking out the window?" he asked, without turning his face. It took me a few seconds to answer, not out of shyness, but because no one had ever truly seen me that way. "Sometimes," I replied, "it's easier to imagine a life that doesn't exist." He smiled, a short, discreet, almost too polite smile. The best stories are born from that. That's how we started talking. No names, no invasive questions, just loose sentences, like 2 people who had known each other in another life and were just resuming an interrupted conversation. Daniel spoke little, but when he did, his words had weight. He observed people with an almost clinical attention. The way they moved their hands, the rhythm of their breathing, the eyes that avoided contact. "People lie all the time," he said, stirring his coffee. "Even when they don't have to." "And you?" I asked. "Do you lie?" He looked at me for the first time. His eyes were dark, not in a romantic sense. They were dark like a lightless corridor, only when necessary. Something inside me should have screamed, should have told me to leave, but it didn't. It stayed silent, watching. We started meeting every day, always at the same time, always in that coffee shop. We never talked about the past. We never talked about the future. It was as if we only existed in that interval of time, until the day he didn't show up. I waited 20 minutes, 30, an hour. When I finally got up to leave, I found a folded note on the table. "Some stories can't be seen in the light of day. If you want to continue, come to the bridge tonight at 11 p.m. There was no signature, but I knew it was from him. I spent the rest of the day trying to convince myself I wouldn't go, that it was dangerous, that it was stupid, that men who write mysterious notes don't lead to happy endings. At 10:45 p.m., I was already putting on my coat. The bridge was far from the center, lit by old lampposts that flickered as if they were tired of existing. Daniel was there, leaning on the railing, watching the dark river below. "You came," he said without surprise. "I should go," I replied. "You should." But I didn't. It was that night he told me something was wrong with him. He didn't use those words. He said it more elegantly, more dangerously. "Some people feel too much," he explained. "Others feel nothing at all. Feel differently." Differently how? He took a deep breath. For the first time, he seemed to hesitate. "When someone crosses certain lines, I don't feel guilt." The cold wind cut through my body. Still, I stayed. "Are you saying you hurt people?" "I'm saying some people deserve to be stopped." It should have been the end, but it was the beginning. Because that same week, the city woke up to the news. Another body found. And I recognized the method described in the newspaper. Daniel had commented, days before, exactly how it could be done. That night, I slept with my phone in my hand, waiting for a message that never came. And even in fear, I smiled as I realized I missed him. After the night on the bridge, nothing went back to its place. Not the city, not Daniel, and definitely not me. In the first few days, I tried to pretend everything was still the same. I went back to the coffee shop, sat at the same table, ordered the same black coffee without sugar, but something had changed. The space felt smaller, the air heavier, as if I had walked through an invisible door and was now trapped on the other side. Daniel kept showing up, but not every day. Sometimes he would disappear for 2-3 whole days. When he returned, he was always impeccable. Clean clothes, a fresh shave, a look too calm for someone who disappeared without explanation. "You disappear," I commented one morning, trying to sound casual. "Some things require silence," he replied, and he smiled. It was on that same day that I found the news. A body had been found in the city's industrial zone. A man about 40 years old. No signs of a struggle, a precise, quick death. The journalist used words that chilled me to the bone. Methodical, calculated, emotionless. Daniel had used those exact words days before when we were talking about bad people. There are people who only stop when someone forces them to, he had said on that occasion. And the police don't always arrive in time. That night, I couldn't sleep. I started to watch Daniel like someone trying to solve a puzzle, knowing the final picture is monstrous. Every gesture took on a new meaning. The way he sized up strangers, the way he listened to stories of violence without any reaction. The calm, especially the calm. "Aren't you afraid?" I asked once as we walked down an almost empty street. "Fear is a luxury," he replied. "Those who live on the edge learn not to need it." I started to do research, not out of curiosity, but out of necessity. Dates of the crimes, times, locations. I cross-referenced everything with what I knew of his routine. The absences coincided too much. The distances made too much sense. It was impossible to keep pretending. And yet, when he touched me, everything disappeared. Daniel wasn't affectionate in a common way. He didn't make promises. He didn't talk about the future. But he took care of me with an almost obsessive attention. He knew when I was lying about being okay. He knew when I needed silence. He knew when I needed to be touched. "You watch me too much," I said, half joking. "Things that matter deserve attention," he replied. The word matter echoed inside me. As the weeks went by, the city went on high alert. More bodies, always the same pattern. Always men, always people with a history of violence, abuse, or hushed-up crimes. The population's opinion started to split. Some called him a monster, others a vigilante. I called him Daniel. That shames me more than anything. I started having nightmares. I dreamt of blood-stained hands that weren't mine, but felt like they were. I dreamt I was waking up next to a stranger wearing his face. I would wake up sweating, shaking. He always woke up with me. "Stay," he would say, pulling me back. "It's all right now." But it wasn't. I asked him directly on a rainy night, when I could no longer bear the weight of the unsaid. "Daniel, have you ever killed someone?" He didn't answer right away. He kept looking at the street, watching the drops run down the glass. Why that question? Because I need to know who I'm involved with. He turned his face slowly. His eyes held no anger, nor guilt. Some people leave you no choice, he said, and I don't lose sleep over it. My stomach turned. That's not an answer. It's the only one I can give you right now. I should have left that night, packed my things, blocked his number, moved on with my life, but I stayed. Because the truth is, I also felt something wrong inside me. Not approval, not excitement, but a dangerous understanding. As if part of me wanted to believe he was cleaning the world of something no one had the courage to touch. That thought scared me more than he did. The following week, Daniel slept at my place for the first time. We didn't have sex. We just lay there listening to my breath gradually slow down. When he fell asleep, I got up carefully. I watched his face. He looked peaceful, human, ordinary. I thought about the victims. I thought about myself. I thought about how many women had loved dangerous men, thinking they would be the exception. I picked up my phone, opened the news. Another serious incident was reported. The time matched when Daniel had said he needed to take care of something. I sat on the kitchen floor and cried in silence. The next morning, he found me there. He didn't sleep. He said, I did. I lied. He crouched in front of me, held my face. Don't lie to me, he said. I never lied to you. That sentence cut through me like a blade. Then tell me who you are, I whispered. For a second, I thought he was going to tell me everything. But Daniel just rested his forehead against mine. Someone who doesn't know how to love without destroying, he answered. And still, I kissed him. That's when I understood. Love wasn't saving me. It was slowly pushing me into the abyss. I discovered the truth in the worst way possible. Alone. Daniel didn't answer my messages. I had learned to recognize the pattern of his silence. It was a choice. And whenever he chose to disappear, something happened in the city. I don't know when I decided to go to his apartment. Maybe it was fear. Maybe the desperate need to confirm what my body already knew. The key still worked. The apartment was too clean, like a place where no one really lives. It was the hallway closet that caught my attention, locked with a simple latch. My hands trembled as I opened it. Inside, boxes, all identical, all labeled with dates. My stomach dropped. I opened the first one. Clippings, blurry photos, reports. Each box held a secret, a file, a dark story. Daniel didn't act out of pleasure. He acted out of conviction. I sat on the floor, surrounded by his dark work, the weight of it all crashing down on me. I was in the middle of this archive, loving the man who had done all of it. I heard the door open. Daniel stopped. He looked at me, at the open boxes, at the exposed truth. His face didn't change. You went where you shouldn't have, he said calmly. How many? I asked, my voice breaking. How many lives have you touched? He closed the door. Fewer than you imagine, more than the world would forgive. I jumped to my feet. I screamed, I cried. I beat his chest with my fists. He didn't react. What have you become? I whispered, exhausted. I know. That answer destroyed me more than any denial. And you still let me love you. I continued. You brought me into this. He held my wrists gently. Not force control. I never planned for you, he said. You just happened. You hurt people, Daniel. People who destroyed others, he answered. That doesn't make you a judge. I never said it did. There was something terrifying in his lucidity. He didn't see himself as a hero. nor as a villain, just as necessary. Are you going to hurt me? I asked, feeling real fear. He let me go. Never, he said. You're the only thing that ever made me hesitate. Those words should have comforted me. But they did the opposite. I understood. I wasn't a boundary. I was a temporary exception. I spent the night there. We slept separately. The next morning, he was different. They're getting close, he said. What's going to happen now? I asked. The end, he answered. I tried to convince him to run. He listened to me as if listening to a child. There's no escape for me, he said. Only postponement. The following days were the worst of my life. Living with the knowledge. Loving with the knowledge. Sleeping next to someone who carried such darkness on his shoulders, and yet still feeling safe there. I hated myself, and deep down, I hated how much I understood him. On the last night before everything fell apart, he held my face and said, "If I ask you to leave, will you go?" "No," I answered without thinking. He closed his eyes for a second. "Then maybe I'll have to do it for you." "What?" "Protect you from me." I kissed him desperately, as if that kiss could erase everything. As if love were a sufficient apology. It wasn't. The next morning, I woke up alone. A note on the table. "Some truths kill faster than knives. Don't come after me." That's when I realized the man I loved was about to make his last mistake. And I was already too involved to survive unscathed. The note stayed on the table all day. I read those few words so many times they lost their meaning. Still, I couldn't obey. Daniel always knew that. He always knew I wasn't made to leave when asked. I stayed, I insisted. I loved until the end. Even when the end didn't want me alive. The city was strangely calm that night. No sirens, no excessive noise. It was the kind of silence that brings no peace, only warning. I walked without knowing exactly where I was going, guided more by intuition than logic, as if something were calling me. When I reached the abandoned warehouse, I hesitated. The place seemed forgotten by the world, swallowed by time. The street lights didn't fully reach the entrance. I took a deep breath before entering. Daniel was there. He wasn't startled to see me. He just closed his eyes for a moment, like someone losing an internal battle. "I asked you not to come," he said. "You knew I would," I replied. He nodded slowly. He was different. No longer distant, but heavy, as if carrying a decision too big to fit inside him. "This ends today," he said. "One way or another." "The police?" I asked. "They're close enough." We fell silent. There were no more accusations, no more questions. Everything had already been said before, even without words. The truth between us didn't need to be explained again. "I wish I had been someone different for you," he said finally. "You were," I replied, "the way you could be." He approached, touched my face with the same care as always, as if still trying to protect me from something invisible. "I never knew how to love without ruining it," he murmured. "Loving didn't ruin you," I said. "It just revealed you." Daniel smiled. A small, sad, human smile. "That's why you can't leave here with me," he said. "And that's why you can't leave alone either." It took me a moment to understand those words. "What are you saying?" I asked. He didn't answer immediately. He just hugged me, tight, long, as if memorizing my body. my scent, my existence. Forgive me, he whispered. There was no struggle, no screams, just a suspended moment, as if the world held its breath with me. The sound echoed through the empty warehouse. After that, everything became distant. I didn't feel pain. I didn't feel fear. Just a deep exhaustion, like someone who finally understands something too late. I fell sitting, leaning against the cold wall. Daniel knelt in front of me. His eyes were filled with something I had never seen before. Despair. It was the only way, he said, more to himself than to me. The only one. I wanted to say so many things. I wanted to ask if he had thought of me when he made that decision. I wanted to ask if love had ever been enough to save him, but the words wouldn't come. I held his hand, and that was enough. The blue lights appeared in the distance, reflecting through the cracks in the warehouse. Daniel noticed. He kissed my forehead one last time and moved away. "Thank you," he whispered, "for reminding me I was still human." I lay there, looking at the rusty ceiling, feeling the cold spread slowly. There was no regret, just a serene sadness. The certainty that loving someone like that was never safe, but it was real. When the police entered, I was no longer conscious. In the following days, my name appeared in the newspapers in a small, almost invisible way. Woman found dead, linked to the suspect, no prior record. Daniel made the headlines. Monster, killer, case closed. No one spoke of love. No one spoke of me. And maybe it's better that way, because some stories don't exist to teach lessons. They exist to remind us that love, when it finds the wrong darkness, doesn't save. It sinks, it accompanies, it dies along, and I died knowing I wasn't innocent. But I wasn't just a victim either. I was the choice he never knew how to make, and the price he couldn't avoid paying. And that was the end.